At the millisecond of impact, a soccer ball is a rigid mathematical object experiencing a transfer of kinetic energy through an absolute void. A well-struck ball leaves the boot at approximately 30 meters per second, establishing the quantitative scale of the launch. High school kinematics models this flight by relying on two foundational assumptions: a frictionless vacuum and constant downward acceleration from gravity. By integrating that constant acceleration, we derive a position function for the ball. Plotted on a Cartesian plane, this function traces a perfect mathematical parabola. This model begins with Newton's first law, where change in momentum is dictated by mass and gravity. Under this model, a ball struck at 30 meters per second traces a symmetrical path, landing exactly 120 meters away. In professional soccer, a goal kick looks nothing like this. Classical mechanics calculates the flight of a point mass with precision. But treating a sports ball as a point mass guarantees predictive failure in the real world. On a real soccer field, a 30-meter-per-second kick barely covers 60 meters, half the distance predicted by simple kinematics. Beyond the loss of range, real kicks violate the symmetry of the parabola. The ball falls to the earth at a significantly steeper angle than it climbed. This graph illustrates the deviation. The upper curve represents the vacuum prediction, while the black curve below shows the actual steep trajectory observed in nature. The trajectory's warping is a response to aerodynamic drag acting against the momentum. We define this interaction as the coefficient of ballistic performance, or B, the ratio of the ball's weight to the air drag force at launch. For soccer balls, the value of B is roughly 0.1. This indicates that aerodynamic forces are significant enough to have the theoretical range. To model this flight, we must abandon high school physics and treat the ball as an interactive surface moving through a viscous fluid. Understanding the beautiful game requires a transition into fluid dynamics. Air resistance is predominantly pressure drag, a force created when air separates from the ball's surface and creates a low-pressure wake. The metric used to calculate this is the Reynolds number, which balances a fluid's inertial forces against its viscous forces. By plugging in the speed of our kick, the radius of the ball, and the viscosity of air, we see that a soccer ball operates at a Reynolds number of approximately 240,000. At this scale, viscosity matters only in a thin boundary layer of air adjoining the ball. This chart shows the drag coefficient relative to the Reynolds number. As the value reaches 100,000, we see the drag crisis, where the coefficient of drag has plummeted from 0.4 down to 0.1. This occurs because at 15 meters per second, the boundary layer becomes turbulent. This turbulent air clings longer to the ball, shrinking the wake and reducing the pressure drag. The paneling and seams on a soccer ball are designed to intentionally prompt this transition, ensuring the ball experiences less resistance. The macro trajectory of a 22-centimeter ball is dictated entirely by the turbulent state of a 0.1 millimeter invisible layer of air. While drag explains the loss of distance, soccer balls also swerve because players intentionally impart spin. This is the Magnus effect. Spin causes the boundary layer to separate asymmetrically, creating a lift force perpendicular to the ball's flight path. To track this, we must define the exact 3D orientation of the ball's spin axis, represented here by the unit vector sigma. We then map this against the velocity vector, v, within a full 3D Cartesian frame. This yields the complete differential equation for a spinning ball. The critical addition is the lift term on the right. Because this involves a cross product, the resulting force is always applied normal to the plane containing the velocity and spin vectors. A free kick is a dynamic differential equation, where gravity, boundary layer drag, and asymmetric lift factors continuously battle for dominance. The ultimate test is the direct free kick. The ball must bypass a 1.83-meter human wall, located exactly 9.14 meters away. The ball must be launched high enough to clear the wall, but low enough to dip under the 2.44-meter crossbar. An optimized kick requires an initial velocity of 25 meters per second, with a launch angle between 16.5 and 17.5 degrees. This simulation shows the ball threading that geometric needle. In the top side view, it skims the wall. In the bottom plan view, side spin curves it into the goal. This chart shows angle sensitivity. A single-degree increase in elevation sends the ball over the bar. Strikers must also hit the ball with enough force to achieve post-critical Reynolds numbers, ensuring the drag coefficient remains stable throughout the flight. The defensive wall acts as a mathematical filter, shrinking the kicker's margin of error for velocity and angle to a razor-thin window. In a vacuum, we have the parabola of safety, a dome representing every possible hit from a single launch point. When we apply atmospheric drag and boundary layer turbulence, this theoretical dome crushes inward and flattens, losing its mathematical symmetry. We then apply the constraints of the field, the wall and the goal frame, which slice away viable paths. Finally, the Magnus lift vector whittles the volume down to a single successful path that threads the needle into the net. We have replaced the vacuum parabola with a model dictated by Reynolds numbers, turbulent wakes, and cross-product lift. An elite kicker is an intuitive physics engine, solving a highly constrained fluid dynamics problem in a fraction of a second.